Class is in session. What's an RBT? What's ABA? What's a BCBA? It gets real in the field when it comes to being an RBT. Kids with autism, they're gonna keep you on your toes. BCBAs who do not support their RBTs will literally make you hate your job. The best part about my job is the tiny little humans. It's Vlogmas. It's Vlogmas. Y'all tired of me doing that yet? Back to my channel, guys. My name is Naira Nicole, for those who don't know, and thanks for tuning in to another video. Today is day 6 of Vlogmas, and I know y'all like, where are you at? Why you in front of this board? Why it look like you're about to give a presentation? And it's because I am. I get so many questions from friends, family members over all my social media platforms about what I do for a living. So I just thought it would be nice to create something on my page just to talk about what I do for a living, how I got in the field, you know, all that good jazz. Yeah, we're getting real fancy. I have my little pointer stick and everything. Class is in session. I hope y'all are taking notes, writing things down, and paying attention, because I'm only gonna say this once. Y'all know I have my handy dandy iPad, because what? I'm just a girl, so of course I'm gonna have my iPad, just because I took down notes on what I will be talking about today. Okay, first thing on the docket, we are going to be talking about what is an RBT. I get that question so many times, and quite frankly, I'm tired of answering it. So, yeah, let's just break it down. Okay, so for my notes, I put, let me grab the iPad, y'all, because we're giving professional today. Okay, y'all, so for me, anytime anybody asks what is an RBT, I just keep it short and simple, because I don't be having time to answer a million and one questions. But what I usually say is, oh, I work with children on the autism spectrum, and I implement behavior-based or like behavior analytic-based therapy. That's usually what I say, something along those lines, but we do so much more as RBTs. But for my notes, I wrote down, what is an RBT? The frontline paraprofessional for children on the autism spectrum receiving ABA therapy. So I primarily work with children on the autism spectrum, and if you don't know what autism is at your big old age, we listen and we don't judge. You know, I'm not gonna judge anyone because they don't know what autism is. And I have realized that a lot of people do not know what autism is, and I feel like there's so many kids that are on the spectrum. There are even so many people, adults, that are coming out saying like, oh, I have found out that I have autism and I'm 23 years old. So yeah, if you do not know what autism is, we also are going to talk about that. But so yeah, that's basically what an RBT is. We collect data on how those interventions are going. We monitor their behavior progress. We do behavior reduction. We are the frontline people. We provide direct therapy. And another question that I kind of get is, are we medical, or are we, you know, what are we? And we are medical providers. We bill insurance. We provide therapeutic services for our clients. So we are under the medical profession, but we also are under like the psychology branch as well. So yeah, we are direct care providers that implement therapy under the supervision of a BCBA. So a BCBA is a board certified behavior analysis. That's what a BCBA is. And so the BCBA, they create the program for the children. So now I'm really going to break down the hierarchy when it comes to ABA. Okay guys, so here is a simple hierarchy. I don't know if I'm saying that word right, bear with me. But usually we have like a clinical, I forgot the L, it's okay. A clinical director, usually, and then there's like a BCBA, which is a board certified behavior analysis. Then we have a BC, which is a behavior consultant, and then we have a BCABA, which is a board certified assistant behavior analysis. This one requires a master's degree, this one requires a master's degree, and you have to have a certain number of master degree hours, like a certain amount of like coursework to be a BCABA. Then you have an RBT or BT, so registered behavior technician, and then you also have a behavior technician. Okay, so as y'all can see, your girl is down here. This is where I want to be. I don't want to be a clinical director. I do have a vision of my own one day to have my own ABA company. So eventually I will be a CEO. I will be a business owner. I won't be working for anybody else. I'll be making my own money. But yeah, so I am an RBT right now, and the difference is one is registered and one is not. So registered behavior technicians, they go through this 40-hour course, and then they take the exam. And I don't know too much about BTs because I don't know, I just jumped straight off the porch, y'all, and became an RBT after my training. So I don't think that BTs have taken the test yet. But so like my BCBAs are like my supervisors. These are all like supervisors. So yeah, I just thought I would give y'all a little bit of the hierarchy. I am currently going to school to become a BCBA. I am in my third semester. My third semester just ended for graduate school, and I have one more semester to go, and then I will have a master's in applied behavior analysis. But you're not done yet. To become a BCBA, you just don't need a master's. You also need a certain number of fieldwork hours. I can go more in depth about a BCBA, their role, the requirements, and things like that in a separate video. If you guys want that, please leave it in the comments. But right now, I'm just focused on what an RBT is. So next, I'm going to talk about, like, as an RBT, what are the things that we're necessarily targeting, or what are we trying to focus on as we're delivering these services. Okay, so some things as an RBT that we teach: functional communication. Kids with autism often have some type of speech deficit or something like that. A lot of them are nonverbal. Some of them could be verbal, but they have like limited amount of words that they can say. They may only be able to say a few words, no words, sounds, things like that. Functional communication is basically appropriately asking for the things that you want, appropriately speaking to others in an appropriate manner, and things like that. Then we teach replacement behaviors. And a lot of my clients, they have behaviors. And so when I say behaviors, I'm talking about eloping, which is like running away, darting, anything like that, screaming, kicking, crying, self-injurious behavior, which is like head banging, and all of those things. Those are my behavior. Tantrums, they could have aggression. So yeah, it gets real in the field when it comes to being an RBT. I've gotten my hair pulled before. Like, I've gotten my ponytail yanked out by a client because the behaviors can be severe. So sometimes when people ask me what is an RBT, I say I get beat up by kids all day. Pretty much. But it's really not like that, y'all. I really do love my job, but I'm not gonna sit up here and lie and act like the behaviors cannot be severe and aggressive, because they definitely can. Like, I've had a few clients tussle with me, but I don't even get down like that and I don't play like that. So we gotta nip it in the bud immediately. Like, replacement behaviors would be, instead of hitting your sister in the face whenever you want a toy, you can just tap her on the shoulder and be like, hey, can I have that toy? You know, it might seem so simple, but the behaviors are so drastic. We definitely need to work and shape those behaviors in the right way. Social skills. A lot of children on the autism spectrum have a social skills deficit. They're either like really introverted, they stay to themselves, they don't like playing with others, or I've seen the opposite, where there's children who love to play with everybody and don't want to do any work because all they want to do is play with their peers. So it just really depends on your learner. And that's what we call our children 9 times out of 10, our learners, our clients, whatever the case may be. Autonomy. And so autonomy is basically like you have the right. You have the right to say if you want somebody in your space, if you want this, if you want that. Personal autonomy, your personal rights to who you are as an individual. Oftentimes for children, we don't give them enough autonomy. It's just like, you need to do this because I said so. And it's not really explaining why they need to do something, just telling them that they need to do it. Daily living skills. We work on things like tolerating haircuts, tolerating brushing your teeth, tolerating using the bathroom, potty training. We definitely do that. I'm not the RBT to potty train. I hate potty training. It was so tedious and so excruciating. I'm like, yeah, this is just not for me. But it is a skill that we do work on. Next, y'all, I'm going to talk about where does an RBT work. So RBTs can work in schools, in a clinic, in the community. And I didn't even know what in the community meant until I started working at the company that I'm currently working at. So in the community is really anywhere outside of the school, the home, or in an autism center or an ABA center. So that could be parks, library, recreational centers, Dave & Buster's, it can be Meijer, it can be Walmart, just anywhere that's outside of a traditional like setting, anywhere out in the community where they're going to have to be using those skills that we're working on, like daily living skills, functional communication outside of certain areas, So we can also work in hospital. I do not know what an RBT in a hospital does because I have only worked in school, in home, and in a clinic. So it would be very, very interesting to see what an RBT in a hospital does, because I didn't even know that you could work in a hospital as an RBT, but you can. Now, like I've said, y'all, I have only worked in school, in home, and in a clinic, and a little bit in the community. Now, if I had to rate which one I like the best, my number one would be in a clinic. I have made lifelong connections. Some of my closest friends I have met at in the clinic that I work at. And so I love the clinic. I love the environment. I might have not liked that particular clinic or who was running the clinic, but overall I do like the feel of a clinic better. Then I would say I like in home. Especially if you have a parent that is involved, that is active, and that lets you do your job, because you will come across those helicopter parents that will come downstairs in the basement or come wherever you guys are and just, okay, can you do it like this? Can you do it like that? And it's like, no, mom, you need to go sit down. I know what I'm doing. I'm trying to do my job. No shade, no tea. To any autism moms out there, I understand where you guys are coming from. You guys are very overprotective of your children. I don't have any kids, so I mean, I can't say that I get it, but I understand because my mom is very protective over me, so I get it. But at the same time, sometimes I have had parents that make it harder for me to do my job in home. So first ranking would be in a clinic, then in home, then school. I currently work in school with 2 of my clients, and how can I put this in a nice way?
Be nice.
I'm finding it.
Take you that long to find it?
It does.
Let me just say this. I love all educators. I have such a love and respect for teachers, principals, special education teachers, aides, all of that. But what I can say is RBTs are definitely needed in school, because a lot of teachers do not know how to handle children on the autism spectrum. They don't know what their precursors are. They don't know what their triggers are. They don't know how to use behavior analytical principles in order to make their day run smoothly. And it's no fault to them. You guys as teachers have maybe 20 other kids to deal with and to worry about. But for me as an RBT, I get that advantage of building rapport or building a good relationship with my clients, where they have a lot of respect for me. I have a lot of respect for them. We spend a lot of time together, so we know each other pretty well. I know when my client is about to elope. I know when my client is about to go into behavior. I can see it in their face. I can see it in their body language. I can tell by their mood. That's just an advantage I have as an RBT that most teachers do not get to have. You're not always one-on-one direct, spending alone and quality time with your students. So I would say working in a school has just been different, because it's just like, I don't want to overstep my boundaries as an RBT, and I also want to respect the teacher. But fortunately for me, I do think I have a pretty good relationship with both of my clients' teachers. I do think we all try to support both of my clients as well as we possibly can. But working in school is just not really my thing. I need to be in the field, you feel me, on the floor, chasing a kid around. That's my thing. That's what makes the job fun for me. And then lastly is in the community. I just personally don't like all the driving. I feel like if you're in the community, you have to go to this place and that place and this place, and I don't like all that. Your girl don't like to drive. It's just not really my cup of tea. One, y'all are gonna excuse my handwriting because I already know that it's not the best. We listen and we don't judge. But a lingering question you guys might have as you watch this video is, what is autism? I get this question a lot. A lot of people, I already said it in the beginning of this video, but a lot of people do not know what autism is. And for me, I just find that, I don't know, it's mind-boggling. Sometimes it's even upsetting because I've had medical professionals like a dentist and things like that ask me what autism is. And I'm like, did y'all not have to talk about that in med school? Did y'all not have to talk about this disorder? Or was it not in depth? Like, it's not making sense. But like I said, we listen and we don't judge. So autism, I broke it down. I'm trying to break everything down in really simple terms. So hopefully you guys are getting it. Hopefully I'm being a good teacher, because I'm not this kind of teacher. I'm not a 2 + 2, no, because I don't have patience to teach academia. Because I'm like, if Johnny had 2 apples, yeah, that's me. I don't have the patience, but I can do like behavior analytical work. I don't know. Autism is a condition that affects how people think, learn, communicate, or interact with others. People with autism see the world in a unique way and typically face challenges. It's a spectrum because autism doesn't look the same. Every client that I've ever had has been so unique and so different, all in their own way. I've had clients who don't communicate at all. I've had clients who are very verbal, who are talkative, who will talk your ear off to death. I look at some of my clients and I be like, dang, can you stop yapping? But I really do love talking and being in communication with my clients. But if you work with kids, or if you know anything about kids in general, it's like once they get to going, they do not be quiet. But I've had a client with really high magnitude behaviors. I've had a client with really low magnitude behaviors. None of my clients look the same, and I think that's a unique part of the job and why I love it, because you never really know what you're going to get with a specific client. Okay guys, next we're going to be talking about, why am I an RBT? And I love this question. I really do, because I get to talk about my passions. And autism, children with unique and special needs have really become a passion of mine. So yeah, let's get into it. So the first reason that I want to talk about is my passion for kids. I really love kids, for real, for real. I adore their mindsets. I adore their little personalities. I just love being around children. I used to be a pharmacy tech, and working with the elderly has made me realize I don't want to work with that population ever again in my life. So then I started looking into like things with pediatric and, you know, things like that. And then I just realized I really do love kids. I feel like children are our future. So it's up to us as the generations before them to really shape them for the generations to come. I feel like it is our job to equip our children with the best tools that we have and all the knowledge that we know, so they can be successful. The next reason is representation. I specifically wanted to pursue being a BCBA because, one, there are not a lot of Black BCBAs. I think 3% was the most recent and most accurate percentage that I found for Black BCBAs. So I have almost always worked with clients who are of a minority race. They make up the majority of the clinic. Therefore, I just didn't see the cultural component needed to accurately treat these children. I definitely feel like Black BCBAs are needed, Black BCABAs are needed, Black RBTs. It's just a different cultural component that is needed for us to help our own and help the members within our community. My friend Tiffany, who just graduated from grad school, she said something really important at her graduation party that I want to re-emphasize. I work with a lot of kids who look like me, but there's not a lot of people who look like me helping them, or something along the lines is what she said. So yeah, just representation. I definitely want to see more of us in the field because I definitely feel like it would be a benefit, and the cultural component of it is definitely beneficial. Another reason why I am an RBT is because it's a different field. I used to want to be a nurse, guys. I was in school for nursing. I applied to nursing school and I did not get in. I was actually supposed to start an accelerated nursing program after I finished my bachelor's degree, but God ordered my steps in a different way, and here we are now. But I like doing things that are different and unique, and I feel like at first, when I first became an RBT back in 2020, 2023, I believe, there was hardly any RBTs. I didn't know anybody who was an RBT at the time, besides my two friends, and that's actually how I got into ABA. Those two friends introduced me, and they were RBTs at the time. I do have a god brother who is on the autism spectrum. He is more high functioning, so he never received any ABA services, so I literally didn't know. I was just like, y'all, what's an RBT? What's ABA? I didn't know what autism was, but I was like, what's an RBT? What's ABA? What's a BCBA? It was all these letters that were confusing and all the things. So I once was in you guys' shoes, and so I definitely sympathize with anybody who really doesn't know about the spectrum. But yeah, I like the uniqueness of the field. I had never done anything like this before. I had previous career experience with like retail. Like I said, I used to be a pharmacy technician and things like that. But once I got in the field and started actually working in it, it was so easy for me to be like, okay, this is really what I want to do for the rest of my life. My last and final reason for why I'm in an RBT is because of the meaningful impact. When I think about how I had clients who couldn't do certain things, and then I stepped in and I helped them achieve the goals that their parents had or they might have had for themselves, it really is just such a feeling that I cannot describe. I love making an impact, and I feel like with each client that I've ever had, their families love me. We have such a good relationship, such a good rapport. They always want me with their client. They be sad to see me leave their clients. So I just feel like I'm really good at my job. And I feel like, not to toot my own horn, but I feel like I'm a really bomb RBT. And I just have a passion for what I do. Like, these little kids deserve the world. They deserve everything that they wish for. They're already going to have disadvantages in life. They already have stigmas put against them. Why not be the change? Why not make the difference? And so I have just been blessed to make such a difference in kids' lives, and I see the difference. So I'm just thankful that I have got to make these meaningful connections. And without my little kiddos, I feel like I wouldn't be as patient. I wouldn't be as kind. They teach me so much, not only about myself, but about them, but about life. Baby, kids with autism, they're going to keep you on your toes, but it's really for the better. They're so funny, they're so cool and unique, and it has just shifted my whole perspective and my whole mindset. So now we're going to get into the tea a little bit. We're going to clack some things. So now we're going to talk about my likes and my dislikes. So some pros: seeing the client's growth, which I already talked about. Seeing a client not be able to use their speech device to being very independent. Amazing. We love to see that. We love to see the progress. We love to see them accomplishing goals that society has told them that they're not going to accomplish, or doing things that parents even think that they cannot do. I have potty trained kids. I have got them to lower a lot of behaviors that they were previously struggling with. I've just done a lot. So I love seeing the clients grow, because they get up every day and they have these stigmas and challenges and bias, and they get up and they show up and they be themselves. And I just love these tiny little humans. And then the second pro I have would be the bond that I make with my clients. I had this client that I loved him. He graduated from ABA, so he's no longer at the center that I used to work at. But me and this young man, we were tight. We were thick as thieves. Like, that little boy was the yin to my yang. Like, you see him, you see me. Like, we were so tight, and I just love that our relationship, and that's why he is my favorite client of all time, because we just had such an amazing bond and such a good relationship, and I got to see him accomplish so many things. So yeah, really the best part about my job is the tiny little humans. Everything else, sometimes I hate. So the cons: inconsistency. And when I say inconsistency, children on the autism spectrum, they might have a lot going on health-wise, especially kids. I used to work with kids 2 to 7, and the kids were sick all the time. So my schedule wasn't always as consistent as I wanted it to be. The biggest con that I have as an RBT are the ABA centers. I have worked at some of the most terrible ABA centers. I didn't even know there were centers that could be so bad. I have some ABA horror stories that made me not want to be an RBT anymore. That made me feel like, can I do this? Is it worth it? So definitely the ABA centers, and it's usually like the administrative side when these ABA companies start looking at these kids as a profit, as a dollar sign, it really makes you upset when you have a passion and you're like, okay, these things are not right. We should not be doing these things. And it's like, who are you to stick up for yourself? And if you do, you're going to be out of a job. I've worked at ABA centers that have micromanaged me, that have been discriminative towards me, that have basically harassed me, and it has just been a lot. I've worked at some pretty terrible centers, but I've also worked at a pretty decent center. Also, the training with ABA centers, the training of the staff. So I worked for a company before. I was only there 2 weeks, and then they had me training the staff. Baby, I don't know what I'm doing. How you expect me to teach somebody else what to do? I just got here. Just making sure you find an ABA center that aligns with who you are as a person. Never compromise yourself for any company, because at the end of the day, these are your credentials on the line. We have to follow ethics. We have to be ethical. We have certain guidelines that we have to follow. It's just like nursing with their HIPAA laws. We follow HIPAA as well. So as a nurse, you would never compromise your license for a doctor. It's the same thing as an RBT. You should not compromise yourself for anybody. The last thing, the con, is the behaviors with no support. Like I told y'all, I had a client pull my ponytail. Like when I say yanked it out, he yanked out my ponytail. And then I felt like the behavior analyst at the time was just like, oh, he pulled your hair, are you okay? Like, it was very nonchalant. It was no urgency to check up on me. There was no support, and things like that. So the behaviors that our kids go through, our clients go through, they can be very extreme. So as a behavior analyst, you should be supporting your RBTs at all times. You should be stepping in, intervening when necessary. And I feel like not having that support will make you want to quit your job, because it's like, what are you here for? You're here to just twiddle on your thumbs. You're not here to help. It's like 911, hello, where are you? Like, BCBAs who do not support their RBTs will literally make you hate your job. Overall, I hope this video was very informative about what an RBT is, what I do, and y'all better not ask me no questions no more about what an RBT is. But yeah, I really do love my job. I am so blessed to have found something that I am very passionate about, and I hope to just share my journey with you guys, and you see me go from RBT to a BCBA. So yeah, that's all I have for you guys today, and stay tuned for day 7, day 6. I really gotta get better with keeping up with the days, but stay tuned for tomorrow's episode of Vlogmas. Bye.